Hey everybody. So as you could tell, the last few days I've changed the format of this application a little bit. Basically, I'm trying to do sort of more live coding, and the videos are a little longer, or a lot longer, but and they are more domain specific than they were before. I just really honestly didn't realize how much time I was spending on learning domain as opposed to coding. Um, so it's been very informative for me. I know that I am always very interested in what's going on, like when I watch a video, like who else watches it and stuff like that. So I thought I would sort of do a quick overview of that. So basically, in general, I try to put out a video every single day. By the time you watch this, I've actually just got a new job, so I probably will have to change the rate at which I deploy videos, maybe just on the weekends or something like that. But um, but the so I put out one video a day, and the videos that show on the weekends see a spike. Generally, during the week, I'll see somewhere between 2 and 10 views, and then on the weekends, I'll see somewhere between 20 and 30, maybe 40 views on the weekends. Um, I am increasing subscribers by about a subscriber a day. In the last 28 days, I added 26 subscribers. I'm currently up to 66 subscribers. Um, so it's just like a nice steady raise. I'll be honest with you, all of the most valuable videos I've ever watched have always had very few views, so I wasn't too concerned about that when I started this. And it's interesting to see. Now, what has really blown my mind is when I go to the analytics. Um, basically, my audience is just spiking in India. 8.7% of my viewers are in the geography of India, and then 1.8 are in the United States. So that accounts for about 10% of the viewers, like 10.5% of the viewers. And then the next largest one is Madagascar, which has zero point 0.8 viewers percent. But then for subtitles, so that means non-English speakers that watch this, the top one is, well, okay, that's not true. So the top one is English. So basically 73.6% of viewers don't use subtitles, and then 23% use English subtitles, and then 0.3% use French subtitles, 0.1% use Spanish, and 0.1% use Portuguese. And then the age groups, basically 81% of the viewers are 25 to 34, and 19.1% are 18 to 24, and then nobody under 17 and no one above 35. And I think that's super interesting. And then, of course, the one that is amazing is, I think I've had, oh my gosh, where is that overview? I don't know. It's like, so the total views of everybody has been like 1,400 views, 1,487 views in the last 28 days. 100% have been guys. Not a single girl has watched a video. So this is clearly a boy dance party. Yeah, and I honestly don't know what to do to make this a little bit more interesting to females. I honestly do think it's the domain. I mean, I just think the domain. I don't think it's the coding. I think it's the 3D is just not interesting to the females coders out there. But anyways, enough of that. I just think that's interesting. Um, the So it is about like the last 3 days I've been doing this longer format, and so not a single one of those videos has gone out yet. So I don't really know how people are gonna, if they're gonna like it or dislike it, based on sort of a lot of these coming from India, and the fact that 23% of people have English subtitles. I think that maybe a lot of people watch this just so, like, kind of as a way to sort of practice listening to like an American accent. Um, so so the longer videos may be more useful to people like that. Like if you're just trying to, like, I know that like people in India, and then like I talk to a lot of people from India almost on a daily basis, and that they're speaking English. They're speaking proper good English, uh, and I often don't understand them. And I'm speaking proper good English, although good's not the right word there, but I'm speaking English that people around me can understand, and they don't necessarily understand me. And then like so just like the more I'm around Indian people, like my wife can't understand, like she'll overhear a conversation, she can't understand it at all. But I've been speaking to people from India for like 10 years, so maybe 20 years, and so I understand fairly well, when people from India. But be honest with you, I can understand people from India better than I can understand maybe someone from like the swamps of Louisiana. Like whenever I've gone to New Orleans and you run into some people with a really strong Cajun accent, I don't understand a word they're saying. So, anyways, that's really not what we're here for, but who knows what we're here for. But that is that. And so just a quick look at this bevel thing that I've been going back and forth with. So I have bevel segments of 1 on this. So if I change it, so this is a letter I, and I'm looking at sort of the little gap between the top of the I and the bottom of the I. And so if I change the bevel segments to 0, I think that means there's no bevel. Yeah, so we have no bevel. And then if I change the bevel segments to like 5, well, you can hardly even see it, but you can kind of see the little grading. If I change it to 3, you can see those. And if you change it to 1. And honestly, the biggest reason I'm spending so much time on this is because this is something I don't understand at all. And this literally may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to learn this kind of thing. I may never, ever get another chance to spend so much time on the text specifics of text in 3 dimensions. So, this is the time. If you're going to learn it, this is the time to learn it. All right, so now as we went over yesterday, bevel offset seems to just make the whole thing bigger. It doesn't seem like, if you look at that little, like the gap there, and I change this to 0.1, that gap, the bevel itself doesn't seem to change. It's just the overall size and width, but the thickness doesn't change. So I'm going to change the bevel back thickness to 0. And so now if I come over to height is where you'll see the thickness or the depth change, right? So now it's less deep and then more deep. And so then it seems like the bevel offset changes the width and height, but it changes, and the same thing happens with size. Size changes the width and height, but size seems to change it on a different, based on where, like, it changes it, the way it scales it is different. So like if I change this height to 2, it makes the whole thing smaller, but it seemed to move the whole thing along the x-axis. So I make it 3. And you can't really see that, so I would have to change the camera for you to be able to see that. So let me change the camera back to sort of its original position. This won't be good for looking at the bevels, but let's see, 5 is where we're usually looking at it. And let's see, the look at, I'm going to just have it look at 0. And so that was supposed to be 5. Okay, so now if I go back to the mesh and I change the size to like 2, see, it stayed on the same place here. And like there was a time where I was trying to build like a lot of like a cool game kind of thing with physics involved, and I really got hung up on trying to figure out where things were changing, like along which axis, because like the physics engines are like calculating along certain axes, and they're not necessarily the same as the way that they're changing in ThreeJS. And that was actually a big part of the goal of this tool, is for me to be able to like experiment with these things at a fine grain level, like saying, okay, what's happening here? So if I make this thing 4, then it stayed on the same place along this axis, right? So if I make it 5 and we look at this axis here, see that didn't change. So I'm going to make it back down to 2. And then if we take our uh, bevel offset and we make it like 0.2, see, like it made it all bigger, and but it also had the effect of of making those two pieces merge into one. So, you know, that's like another thing to keep in mind when you're dealing with bevel offset. Um, at this point, I cannot understand why you'd want bevel offset. Maybe it would be, I guess it would be kind of cool like in an animation, like if this was animated and it started at like 0.6 and then it went to 0.5, then it went to 0.4, and then it went to 0.3, then it went to 0.2, and then it went to 0.1, and then 0. Yeah, maybe that could be like a cool effect of the whole thing, kind of going from a big blob into a thing. I don't know. But anyway, so what I want to do, how far in? How long have I been rambling? 11 minutes. So if I want to go into, the next thing I want to do is update my bevel size so that I can make that configurable. So let's go ahead and get started by going into the interface, the mesh interface, and adding bevel size. So there's that, and the number, and boom. We should see some stuff break for us. And so the next step would be to come in here, and so basically bevel size, I believe that bevel size is by default, I can't even remember, 0.02. Okay, so we're going to go with that. Come down here, bevel size 0.02 comma. All right, so that fixes everything, but it's not visible in the template. So if I say add mesh, show edit form, and I convert this thing to a text, there's no bevel size. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. Just, you know, that's what I've been doing. It seems to work out okay. I'm going to go into the template, mesh manager template, and I'm going to find the section that's got our text geometry stuff, and I'm going to add bevel size. And I do not know what bevel size does. You know, I guess that this would be a great time to use ChatGPT to get the hint. So let's see. First of all, obviously my bevel offset is wrong. So in bevel offset, I know that like what the thing it gives me, I don't really understand. Anyways, okay. Stop. Okay. Defines how much of the bevel is offset from the shape's outline. Oh, you know what? That is starting to make more sense. And that is my personal experience. That things just start, the more you read them, the more they defines how much of the bevel is offset from the shape's outline. Okay, and now the next thing we want to know is bevel size. I think last time they went off and they even explained that. Let's see if this is better. The parameter shifts the start of the bevel from the shape's outline inward, to outward. Actually, that's a better definition. I don't know if it'll show up, but, and then bevel size. What about bevel size? Why is it sometimes you hit enter and that's good enough, and then sometimes it isn't? creating bevel. It defines the parameter sets the distance from the original shape's outline to the start of the bevel. Oh, that is interesting. Oh, a larger bevel size results in a more pronounced bevel, while a smaller bevel size creates a subtler effect. Oh, so that might be like early when that was what I was thinking the bevel offset did. So maybe this will make my bevel bigger. All right, so we did that. We have bevel size. As we know, that will cause a console log error when we go to show it because it'll be blank. When we go to add mesh, show edit form, change this to text, and when we go to bevel size, it just says bevel size there, and here I have all the, yeah, and it's upset because there is no bevel size. So that's the next thing to do, is to go back into this and go to the controller. I think a lot of people call this controller, the TypeScript. I don't think it's technically a controller, but I'm not sure. And I always like to look for the one that's going to be just above it. Bevel offset. And just do a Control F on that. And then, so this is bevel size. So this is our handler, our subscription that handles changes. Is equal to form.value.bevel size. So that's just saying, hey, whenever it changes in the form, update the mesh item for it. You know, simple. And then this is where we create it. So this is specifically what was causing that console log error, because there was no bevel size in the form. And then this is our update, which is not really relevant right now, but will be relevant when we get to the import export. And then, okay, we already have this one. So I think that takes care of all the issues. I mean, everything in the TypeScript. So I'm going to hit save on that. And so basically all we should probably be able to see at this point is if I come in here, if I add a mesh and I change it from a cube to a text, and I change the bevel size, well, there's no errors, and if we were to leave and come back, he'll stay the same. And that's really all we can hope for, because we didn't update the interface, the service. So now we'll go into the service, wrong one, and basically this has gotten a lot easier, because before we had an issue where we had a bunch of places that we had to make changes. So now this is some code that just says, hey, you know, if the bevel size has changed, then go ahead and update the geometry. So basically we're just adding that to the list of things to check for a change. And that's cool. And then, so it'll only try to update the geometry if something changed. And then here, we just need to add the actual change. So bevel size. So this is really nice because, you know, as of yesterday, or yesterday, you know, before yesterday, there was a bunch of places. There was 3 places that the changes had to be done consistently for it to work. And oh, we already have bevel size in here. It's just hard-coded, and we don't want it to be hard-coded anymore. Let's see. All right, let's just undo, 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 undo. I don't know what was going wrong there, but here we go. Bevel and size. All right, so now add mesh. I'm going to add my mesh, and I'm going to turn it into a text, and then it's going to, it's automatically being an eye, and it's kind of hard to see because it's so thick, so make it thinner, and then I'm going to change it to a normal font, and then I'm going to I think I'm going to increase the size of it to 3. Yeah, 3 is good. And then I'm going to move my camera so that I can see the bevel. I'm very excited. I don't know what it's going to do. To 2, and then make x -2, and then make the z. We're still talking the camera. Okay, the y, what, 3? It's kind of weird. Is it? Oh, okay, I need, yeah, 3 is probably right. And then I want it to look at a y of 3. There we go. Okay, so let's move this to 1 so we can see a little better. And then move this one to -1. There we go. So we can see a little closer. It probably should be 2. 2, and then have it look at y of 2. All right, so we can see the bevels. Okay, let's make the bevels only have 1, just because I think they're easier to one segment. So now there's our bevel with 1 segment, and let's see if bevel size does anything. Okay, yeah, that is, okay, so that's what I thought the bevel offset did. Let's see, do we have a, no, we don't have any. So this is actually making our bevel bigger. It's not changing the size, but it's making it bigger. And this does make some sanity, I think, bring some sanity to it. So our height is 1. See, I don't know how these things, so our height is 0.1, and our bevel size, oh, is 0.04. So what if it was 0.1? Would it just be the whole thing, just be one big old bevel? I don't know. I don't know what that did. 0.09, 0.08. Okay, so it is actually, it is changing the size of things. See, I didn't think it would change the size. But yeah, the whole thing is getting shorter and is getting shorter. And like the smaller I make it. So if I make it bigger, so if I make this 9, it actually got taller. If I make this 1, it actually got smaller. So I guess I can make them merge up the same way you, yeah, so then that's how that works. 0.1. And so now if I do the bevel offset, this one is just confusing me. I don't think I'll ever understand this one. Anyways, yeah, so I don't want to go down the bevel offset rabbit hole again, but that is how that works. I guess it would be good to turn this mesh into a fong and then add a light. And then I guess we need to move the light be out in front of a little bit. And then, so that's very dramatic, right? The way that light is. Let me move it up a little bit, and then maybe move it to the left. Yeah, that is really neat, the way that that effect is. I could definitely see being able to make some pretty cool graphics out of that. Definitely. Right now, everything I just see is like a graphic T-shirt or something like that. But yeah, so I think that does that. I'm going to turn this to like a cool color, green. And let's see, we are 25 minutes in, so it's still a long recording, but the coding part went real easy. This is the first time like every line of code made sense, and it was just like easy, understandable. Now the domain was still a little bit weird. I still don't quite understand all the different pieces of why these beveling things are, and I don't even understand what all the possible things of a, let's see, text string parameters is. Um, so you know, um, so I think next will be our bevel thickness, and then whether bevels are enabled or not. That'll be after that, and then we'll go down the adventure of the other. Look, I think there was like 3 other kinds of fonts that I could add. So being able to change fonts, and then I think that'll be it. Maybe a quick, uh, like what. Maybe there's something really cool, like in text geometries, like let's see. Let's ask ChatGPT what parameters can be passed into. Let's see if there's anything just like that just jumps out as so there's the font, the size, the height, which we have bevel enable, bevel thickness, bevel size, bevel offset, bevel segment, curved segments. Oh, steps is one I don't think we have, so we probably might want to add that. Let's read what steps does. Is the number of steps to extrude in the text. Um, so, let's do that real quick. Let's just add that so it doesn't get lost. Steps 1. Make sure that that is cool. This should redone, and then add mesh, edit form. And this is exactly what I do when I'm coding. So, this is like the real deal on how I do this. So it looks like steps doesn't seem to do anything. I mean, steps is fine. So just for fun, let's make steps 100 and see if anything weird happens. Yeah, so there was nothing weird, I don't think. So who knows? Maybe that's why they didn't even add it in the example code. But let's go ahead and put that back to the default one. And now that we've actually seen what it does, steps is the number of steps to extrude in the text. Number of steps. Okay. See if it gives us a better, if we call it out directly. As far as the number of segments to extrude the shape along its depth. Essentially, it controls the smoothness and level of detail along the depth of the extruded shapes. All right, well, I hit my limit. Yeah, so I'm going to have to take a couple hours off of chat GPT-4, or it's always fun to ask the same question, especially if it's like something, and see if you get a different answer with Chat GPT-3. Is steps again? Let's see. Because sometimes you'll get, okay, so that's nice. It's much, yeah, it was a lot less wordy. See, I kind of like that better. In simpler control, yeah. See, I felt like that was a better answer than the 4.0. And a lot of times, like if you ask ChatGPT 3.5 about like something in Angular 18, it can't answer because it doesn't have access to that information. But anyways, happy coding, everybody.